Cunningham, handoff Johnson, into a triple team, out to Clark, 3 more!
3 days before this game, Caitlin Clark couldn't move right, back stiffness, no practice, no warm-ups. She sat out the entire Portland game and watched from the sideline while her teammates handled business without her. That alone would have been the story of the week. But then somebody stuck a microphone in Stephanie White's face and asked a simple question. How is Caitlin?
Is she injured? I guess is a fair question. Is she injured? Or is it something other than an injury?
Her back is sore.
And White gave the kind of answer that made every single person watching lean forward. Vague, evasive, visibly uncomfortable. No confirmation she was fine. No confirmation she was limited. Just words that technically formed sentences but told you absolutely nothing. The internet went into overdrive. The rumors started spinning. And then Caitlin Clark walked onto the floor against Golden State and delivered one of the most explosive.
See Hull doing it all on that defensive possession. Clark, from another stratosphere!
Individual performances of the entire 2026 WNBA season. 22 points, 9 assists, 20 and 16 from Aliyah Boston, and a final score of Indiana 9.
Left with her left hand.
Clark just spins away from Hayes, fades, fires and hits.
What a tough two.
90, Golden State 82. A technical foul, a flagrant foul, and a third quarter so dominant it essentially ended the game before Golden State.
Matchup starting to heat up. Clark on the drive, draws the foul, banks it home, and one for Caitlin Clark.
Understood what hit them, but the box score only tells you what happened. It doesn't tell you why it mattered.
Steph, what is your reaction to getting a warning from the league as a team for the injury report involving Caitlin? Medical questions, we can defer that to the medical team. We, to my knowledge, don't have access to talk to them.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I don't disclose anything that's not already disclosed by our medical team, by our franchise.
And to understand that, you need the full picture. Here's what most people forget or choose to ignore. Last season nearly broke Caitlin Clark, not mentally, not competitively, but physically. After never missing a game in her collegiate career or during her rookie WNBA season, Clark was limited to just 13 appearances in 2025, averaging 16.5 points, 5 rebounds, and 8.8 assists per game. Those numbers sound respectable, until you realize the former Iowa star was hampered by injuries in 2025 and missed 31 of 44 games.
Tell exactly what happened there as Clark bounces inside for Boston. Good patience.
Games. A left quad strain, a left groin issue, then a right groin sprain that shut everything down. She also missed time with left quad and left groin injuries, and ESPN confirmed she suffered a bone bruise in her left ankle during a workout in August that she had to rehab concurrently with her groin. The woman who had been indestructible through 4 years of Iowa.
Clark, beautiful find, inside for Cunningham, and one!
Basketball, and an entire rookie WNBA season suddenly couldn't stay on the floor. She did not rush her return. Instead, she spent the next 8 months focused on rehabilitation, working closely with trainers and medical staff to rebuild her body and regain confidence in her movement. So when she sat out the Portland game in 2026 with back stiffness, every fear from last year came rushing back. The whispers started immediately. Is this the beginning of another spiral? Is she managing something worse than they're telling us? And the way her coaching staff handled the communication only made those whispers louder. The Portland situation was strange from the beginning. Less than 2 hours before tip-off, the team announced Caitlin Clark would not play due to a back injury, despite her name being completely absent from the injury report the day before. Fever coach Stephanie White said before the Fire game that Clark woke up Wednesday with stiffness and soreness in her back, and that she did not practice Tuesday, instead getting treatment and going through workouts after practice.
Starting a game out relatively fast, and then in the second quarter, we give up a lead. Caitlin Clark and the Fever showed out in the third quarter, with a 29-17 showing. The big three showed up. Aliyah Boston, 20 points on 8 of 15, 16 boards, 3 blocks.
Simple enough. But then the follow-up questions made things complicated. Reporters asked White directly if this was load management, if the Fever were strategically resting their star, and White's answer was almost contradictory. She insisted Clark was healthy and they weren't managing anything, but she also said this was about being cautious. Healthy but not playing, not managing anything but sitting out as a precaution. Those words didn't line up and everyone noticed. Then the league stepped in. The WNBA warned the Indiana Fever for failing to report Caitlin Clark's injury status before she became a late scratch. The Fever disclosed Clark's injury 2 hours before tip-off on Wednesday, and she was not listed on the team's injury report a day prior when she didn't practice. When White was told about the warning, her reaction was almost defiant. She looked at the reporter and essentially said, "For what?" Meanwhile, the first public indication that Clark was dealing with any back concern came 100 minutes before the Fever's 90-73 win over the Fire. Indiana destroyed Portland without her. But that only raised another question. What happens when she comes back? And the answer to that was about to arrive in the most dramatic way possible. The pregame press conference before the Golden State matchup became a moment all by itself. White was asked directly about Clark's status, and the answers were textbook deflection. She deferred everything to the medical staff. When a reporter pointed out they couldn't access the medical team for independent confirmation, White essentially shrugged. No clarity, no timeline, no real information. Just a head coach behind a podium looking like she wanted to be literally anywhere else on the planet. Clark herself eventually spoke to reporters, and her words carried far more weight than anything her coach had offered. "I think, at the end of the day, it's me and my confidence," Clark told reporters. Coming back from injury and having however many soft tissue injuries in 2025 is a real mental challenge. Clark acknowledged that though people expect her confidence to be steady, it can still be up and down. She wasn't hiding behind corporate answers. She was being honest about the psychological weight of what 2025 had done to her. She also took a shot at the noise, making it clear that nobody inside that locker room thought twice about the Portland scratch. It was the outside world blowing it up. She wanted to clear up all the narratives spinning out of control online. And then she walked onto the court and let her game finish the conversation. The Fever took a slight 19-18 lead in the first quarter, with Mitchell and Boston each recording 6 points and Clark contributing 5 points along with 4 assists. Nothing that told you what was coming. Clark was in read and react mode from the opening possession, not forcing anything, not trying to make a statement about the back. Just playing basketball, pushing pace, finding the right pass, getting her legs under her in a way that looked completely natural for someone returning from a physical issue. Then the second quarter flipped the script entirely. Golden State's bench came alive and outscored Indiana 26-18 in the period. Reserves Tiffany Hayes with 19 points and Caitlin Chen with 18 points led the Valkyries. Chen was converting at a rate that had Indiana's defense scrambling. Hayes kept finding her spots. By halftime, Golden State held a 44-37 lead, their biggest advantage of the game. The Gainbridge crowd that had been buzzing on Clark's return started going quiet. Indiana looked disjointed. The defensive rotations were breaking down. The offense wasn't generating the clean looks that had defined their previous wins. Halftime hit and the entire narrative had shifted. Clark was back, but her team was losing to one of the league's younger rosters. The concern was real, but what nobody in that building knew yet was that the third quarter was about to change everything. 29-17. That was the third quarter score. Indiana obliterated Golden State in 12 minutes of basketball that changed the entire feel of this game, this week, and possibly this season. The moment Clark came out for the second half, something had visibly shifted. She wasn't easing into possessions anymore. She was attacking the very first one, pushing pace in transition, getting the ball up the floor before Golden State's defense could set. converting fast breaks that woke up the entire building. Then the threes started falling. Clark hit her first third-quarter three with a defender's hand barely reaching her release point. The kind of shot that only goes in when a player is locked in at a level that can't be schemed against. Golden State called a timeout. It didn't matter. On the next meaningful possession, Clark drove downhill, drew the foul, and walked to the line with the calm of someone who had completely seized control of the game's emotional frequency. Then came the moment that defines who Caitlin Clark really is. She picked up a technical foul. The exact circumstances can be debated, whether the call was justified, whether she reacted to something a defender did, whether the official escalated too quickly. What can't be debated is what happened next. She turned around, set up the next play, made the...
This may have been the night that Caitlin Clark put the league on notice. But the Fever got the win, and Caitlin Clark, once again, pretty much put this team on her back and rode it to victory.
Right basketball decision like the tech had happened in a different arena to a different person. Then a flagrant foul, back-to-back official actions in the same quarter. Two moments where most players emotionally check out and let the refs live in their head the rest of the night. Clark processed both and kept going. That fire is what generates 29 points in a single quarter. You take one, you get the other. There is no version where you separate them. Aliyah Boston recorded her 42nd career double-double to help lead the team to victory. She was the direct beneficiary of every defensive collapse Clark created. With Golden State loading up on Clark at the arc and in the paint, Boston was catching passes in the post with single coverage and cleaning the glass with nobody in position to contest. Clark creating the chaos, Boston converting the results. Perfect tandem basketball. The fourth quarter was Indiana 24, Golden State 21, controlled without ever fully pressing the accelerator. Clark shifted into distribution mode. Boston protected the glass, and Kelsey Mitchell did exactly what a championship-level third option does when her shot isn't cooperating. Mitchell added 19 points for Indiana, going 11 for 11 from the foul line. 19 points on just 4 of 10 from the field, but perfect from the stripe. Not a single miss. When your jumper isn't falling, the smartest thing you can do is attack contact and get to the line. Mitchell drew 5 fouls and converted every single opportunity. That is a player who understands her role. Veronica Burton added 17 points, and Kayla Thornton had 10 for Golden State. Hayes gave them 19 on efficient shooting. But the Valkyrie starters collectively shot just 37% from the field, and no amount of bench firepower covers that kind of inefficiency against a team with Indiana's top-end talent. Golden State made a late push, cutting the deficit to just a few possessions, but the Fever closed it at the foul line with ice in their veins. Final score, Indiana 90, Golden State 82. Clark's stat line reads like a statement: 22 points, 7 of 15 from the field, 4 3-pointers made, 4 of 5 from the foul line, 9 assists, 8 fouls drawn, 6 fast break points, 1 technical, 1 flagrant. The 3-point shooting is the number that keeps growing in significance. 3 straight games now of elite shooting from deep after early season struggles. When she was hovering around 20% from 3, the entire league adjusted their scouting reports in real time. Sagging off, loading the paint, daring her to beat them from distance. That strategy is now officially dead. 44% from 3 on 9 attempts in a game she almost didn't play is the kind of performance that resets every defensive game plan in the league overnight. The 9 assists extend a pattern that's redefining how we describe her. She's not a scorer who occasionally passes. She's a genuine floor general whose passing vision operates at a speed no defense has consistently figured out how to counter. Her teammates aren't just open when they cut. They're open before they've finished cutting because Clark has already read where they're going and released the ball. 6 turnovers is the one concern. She's playing so fast and so instinctively that turnovers are the natural cost of the style. But against teams with elite defensive infrastructure and perimeter pressure, 6 turnovers will get punished without mercy. It's the one adjustment that has to happen as the season progresses. Indiana currently sits at 8-5, third in the WNBA Eastern Conference. The wins have been increasingly dominant and increasingly complete. Aliyah Boston and Caitlin Clark became the first WNBA teammates to record 30-point double-doubles in the same game during a recent overtime thriller against the Chicago Sky. That's not a stat you stumble into. That's a partnership operating at a historic level. Clark is also averaging 8.1 assists per game, which tops the entire WNBA this season. Aliyah Boston is having a career season, averaging 17.4 points, 8.2 rebounds, 2.5 assists, 1.1 steals, and 1.3 blocks. Every time the Fever stumble, the narrative of internal tension resurfaces. Every time, Clark and White have to swat it down. Clark has addressed it herself, making it clear that nobody inside that locker room gives those stories a second thought. Stephanie White stood behind a podium before the Golden State game looking like someone holding information she couldn't share. Whatever uncertainty existed, whatever was being managed behind closed doors, the player resolved it by walking onto that floor and playing 40 minutes of basketball so dominant it came with a technical, a flagrant, 9 assists, 4 threes, and a third quarter that ripped Golden State's game plan apart at the seams. White admitted that managing Clark's hip and rib alignment would be an ongoing thing. That reality hasn't gone away. The back isn't a one-time issue. It's something that requires constant maintenance, constant attention, and constant communication between Clark and the medical staff. But the difference between 2025 and 2026 is that Clark is no longer a player trying to survive a season. She's a player trying to dominate one. And 3 days after she couldn't stand up straight, she walked into Gainbridge Fieldhouse and reminded every coach, every player, and every fan in this league exactly who she is. The Fever are building something real, and the WNBA should be paying very, very close attention.
Before going further, if you're enjoying this video, don't forget to smash that subscribe button. It really helps us keep bringing you the content you love. Share this video with your friends so they don't miss out on all the drama and excitement.